Season greetings, fellow gardeners. Welcome back to my channel. It's Christmas time. Christmas is just round the corner. I love Christmas time because it's all about sharing, it's about love, it's about being with your family. And on top of it, what I love the most is about decorating. So today I'd like to talk about decorating and show you a few of the things that I have done in my home, and maybe you can pick up a few tips. So let's start. Fellow gardeners, I always feel that when you have to decorate your home is always have a centerpiece, and for myself is I always use my mirror in the sitting room as my centerpiece. Now the thing is that you must be wondering, why don't you see a Christmas tree? Basically, every single Christmas that I have had where I had to decorate is I just go into the garden and get a branch. As you see here, this is my hibiscus plant, and as I was walking through the garden I was like, I need to get a branch that has many other branches for hanging my Christmas balls, and I managed to get this one. So what I did is I bought it in and I nailed it up on the pelmet, brought it down, hung all these beautiful Christmas decorations which I glued onto the branch, and then finale is I hung all my balls here. Now when you're trying to make an arrangement like this, it's very, very important. Put the lights up before you hang things, because otherwise what happens, because of all these branches, it gets really sort of entangled as you're trying to put the lights on. So if you want to do a structure like this, hang it up, position it how you want it, and I always like it in the corner. Put your Christmas lights, and then you can stick all the other ornaments. And voila, this is it. And so here we go. The thing about Christmas, it's all about color. Now if you go into any sort of stall that is selling Christmas ornaments, we're always looking at red, we're looking at green, and then on top of it you add your silver and blue. So I wanted to have a touch of red, but then I thought to myself, why don't I just go into the garden and get my heliconias? This is a heliconia plant, and there are different types of heliconia. So what I decided to do is actually do a display with the red. What I've done is put a bit of an ornament on it, and then these Christmas lights is actually like a soft white, so it doesn't glisten so much, because I do have a tendency of going into Christmas lights and it gets a bit too much. So with this Christmas light, it has a very soft color, and that's the way I want it, so it doesn't take the drama out of my heliconia display. As you notice, as we walk through the house and see these amazing displays that I did, is that in each individual corner I've decided to actually bring the Christmas into that particular corner. So this is my dining room. Now I want to talk about this plant. This plant I've had for the last 4 years because I don't believe in buying Christmas trees, and it's a lemon cypress and it's a dwarf. So every year for Christmas I bring it out, and then when Christmas is over it goes back into my garden in a pot, and we wait for the next Christmas. So what I've done is, as you see, this is its pot. What I did is to make it look like a Christmas package, I just got the Christmas wrapping paper and I tied it at the end, and in order not to see the soil, I've just added a bit of, these are pines that I've been collecting wherever I go, and I just put a bit of sparkles on them, and it gives a really nice Christmassy feeling. And also I have a few balls in there, I have a star in there. So this is basically my Christmas tree, and I have 2 of them, and every year it comes out. Now here on the, in order to make it really Christmassy, is I went and I got these cypress. So that's what I've decorated it here below, plus eucalyptus. Now the reason why I wanted to have a lot of cypress and eucalyptus here is the smell of Christmas is always about the pine tree, and it's also about smells of the eucalyptus. And so what I've done is I've actually added all my lovely little cypresses all around, and I've put my eucalyptus here. But in the morning when you walk into my dining room, all you get is the smell of the pine and the eucalyptus. Now the thing I must tell you is that the pine does stay for a long time, so it still remains green, and you can have that display for a long time. The only problem is that with eucalyptus is that as you display it, is that it does dry out, as you see. But I would actually put the eucalyptus on Christmas Day around your display in order for it to look really fresh and the smell really comes out. So here's my Christmas tree. I've put my balls, I've stuck these glittery things inside, and voila, again, in the evening, if we do lay the table and we want a Christmas feel, I always have my lights on. Christmas in Kenya is all about family, and some of us do have large families. So sometimes at Christmas Day for the lunch is that we don't do a sit-down meal. So what I've done here is to give you a choice, is that when you're making your buffet, because that's what we usually have at Christmas, is have a centerpiece on the table. Now I'll show you what I did here. Now I made a center display for a buffet setting. Now what I did here is that, again, I went into my garden and I looked for something that I could do a display with. Now my choice, because it's December and agapanthus season, so what happens with the agapanthus is that after it flowers you get this sort of look. These are the seeds of the agapanthus. What I did is I put it in the bowl, and if you can see here is all these agapanthus are there, all the ones with the spent flowers. Then I went and got these fillers. These are hypericums, and they have them in all the florists, and they look a bit like the holly, and just to give that red Christmas color, so I just stuck them in the bowl, mixed them in such an arrangement. And then what I did last is all these lovely little ornaments, Christmas ornaments. Actually there were leftovers and I didn't know what to do with them, so I just saw them and I thought, why don't I just plonk them in just to give that Christmassy feeling. Do you see, they're all just scattered in here, and that will be my centerpiece for my buffet table. If you're doing a dinner on a sit-down dinner on a long table, this would be ideal for a sit-down meal because it's not so high and you can see across the table. Second thing, I do cheat a lot at Christmas. Before I used to have candles, and I love candles and I love the smell of candles, but the problem is that they kept on pouring over and ruining my tables and everything. So I went for artificial candles. The beauty about them, they do flicker and they actually look quite real and they last a long time. So this is my centerpiece. If you have a table, for a sit-down table with your family, have this right in the middle of the table, and isn't it a beautiful Christmas look? Even though it is, you know, we do have a pandemic and we do have our bubbles, is that basically is usually it's my close relative, my sister or my niece, and I'm so sure over Christmas we will get together and have a bit of Prosecco or wine and share our bitings. And that's why it's important also for your coffee table, do make a display like this. Now the way I did this display is I went back into my garden and I got the red poinsettia. The poinsettia is usually a Christmas plant. So I've just taken a snipping and I've put it in a bowl of water. And then what I've done is all around is I've put the fern. So it gives a very fresh, it's almost like a waterfall. And then with these cypresses, which I showed you earlier on, I've just taken a tray and and lined it with cypress. And then I've taken all these Christmas balls and I've put them in around my vase. Now this is my centerpiece for my coffee table, and I hope I encourage you with that. Now the thing that I am crazy about, which I'm so sure up to now you've sorted me out, is that I'm crazy about lights. If you had a glass vase and you still have a bit of Christmas decorations left over, what I normally do is I put all my Christmas decorations, all these lovely things, I love silver, and inside I do have my lights. This is the sort of look, you could have it on a table, you could have it in a corner, but it just adds a bit of that Christmassy feeling. Christmas is here and it's all about giving presents, about sharing. Now, as a gardener, is that what I would like to recommend, because plants are not expensive. So why don't you give your friends, your mother, your sister, your aunts, just a little present which will remind them of you. This is a succulent which is very easy to propagate, it's very easy to take care of. As we know from the previous episode, is if you touch it and it's dry, then you water it. So it's a very easy plant to give as a present. Now what I did to the outer pot is I just took these glass pebbles and I stuck them with super glue around the pot, and just decided to make a little bit of a design going down this way. And then the other thing what I did is I just got, again, stones, ornamental stones, which you can buy in any of these big supermarkets. Is again, I did the same thing and took it round, and I thought this could be a nice birthday present for a very close friend of mine. Now that is one thing, so you just wrap it up really nicely, opened wrap, and that's how you give it. Now the other thing I thought is, like for your children, little girls, whatever, and boys, is that if they want to also give a present of a plant, again, I have a cacti here. I think it's the zebra cacti, which is beautiful. I've just plonked it in a kikapu, which is a basket, a straw basket, and that would make a really nice present for grandma, for aunties, and they could take this. In that way you're not spending a lot of money, and it's something that as your aunt or your mom gets a present like this, they will always remember you because it becomes your plant that you gave it to them. So fellow gardeners, I hope I've given you a lot of tips, and if you do get in the situation that you want any more information, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and please just inbox me and I will respond to your questions. Thank you so much for joining me on this channel. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget always to press that notification button so anytime we upload a video you'll be notified. And Merry Christmas, season greetings, and I wish and hope that you will have a really fantastic Christmas.